One. Sorry about that. Sometimes Linux and projectors they do dramas, so it's just one of those things. So my name is Joseph Adediji, and today we'll be talking about Django and Celery. So I'm a software developer and technical writer. I build mostly with Python and other things related. So very quickly, we will look at what Celery is, how to get started with Celery, task scheduling with Celery, and benefits and also use cases of Celery. Do you have people here that are Django developers? Django developers. You write Django. Okay. I was expecting there would be a lot more. We use Django a lot now in Nigeria. Do you have people that have experience with Celery? You've used Celery before in your applications. Celery. If you guys are not using Celery, how do you now build your apps? Okay, so what is Celery? Celery is a distributed task queue system built in Python and usually used in Python applications, not just in Django. You can also use it in Flask and other Python um, development frameworks. So basically, what Celery does is this. Celery allows you to do things in the background. This is something you see a lot in all applications. For example, if you go to Jumia and then you order for a product, let's say you buy sneakers. When you click on that buy button or the order button and you put your card or you use a payment gateway, once you are done, one of the few things that will happen is you receive an email that your order is completed, right? Or then they've sent you an email again with the tracking. The vendor, you are processing your orders and all those things. But while they are sending you all those emails, you're able to do other things. Let's say you want to buy a t-shirt. You can also go ahead and buy t-shirt. And then you are buying a t-shirt again, you are still getting emails for the sneakers you bought. That is because in the background, there is something that is responsible for sending the emails that has nothing to do with what you are doing on the website. So Celery is a system that does something like this in the background for Python applications and in Django. So if you have Celery in the background, you can delegate tasks to Celery, and then people can keep on using your application to do whatever it is that they are doing. And then all these other tasks will be running in the background. So we'll see some examples later on. So Celery uses a task queue system to manage operations. So basically, it's just a queue, a regular queue. Let's say, for example, let's assume I want to share ice cream to everybody here today. There are two ways we can do it. Way one, the style, the method one, I can say, okay, I'll stand in front here and then everybody, let's form a queue, like how we had breakfast. And then we form a straight line and then we start sharing the ice cream. What will happen is I'll be the only one sharing ice cream to everybody. What if I step out to ease myself? That means you stay on the queue until I come back. You understand? If I go out for 1 hour, I'm the only one sharing the ice cream. You guys will stay on the queue for an hour till I'm back and then I'll resume again. So that is what blocking processes do. If you have a blocking process in your app, when it's running, everything is on hold until that process is done. So imagine you are sending emails to 500 customers and then you are doing it one after the other inside the main application. So until email 1 is done, email 2 cannot go, email 3 cannot go, email 4 cannot go. Now imagine what is happening to all the users. Then users are stuck waiting for the page to load just because you are trying to send emails to a lot of people at once. So when you are building demo apps locally, you may not experience that issue because you are the only user now. So when you write a function, you write a code, and you want to send an email to yourself, immediately you click send, the email is sent. You feel like, this app is working. But the problem is, what if 1,000 people click that send button at the same time and you need to send 1,000 emails in production? How do you do that? So that is where Celery and its background workers come into play. So why do we use Celery? Celery plays nice with Python frameworks, Django, Flask, and the likes, and it's very, very easy to integrate. And also, it's very stable. It's something that is battle tested. A lot of companies use this. A lot of systems, applications they use this, and that is why Celery is actually a very good choice for running background tasks. So getting started with Celery is pretty straightforward. It's just the traditional way. You do your pip install. Um, pip installs Celery, and then Celery is installed into your Django application. But then it requires a broker. You can either choose Redis or RabbitMQ. I usually use Redis. Redis is easy to set up. You can easily set up Redis and then you plug it into your Celery setup, and Celery will start working in your app. So you import Celery and then you pass in your app name. So Celery has three parts, three major components. One, we have the producer, that is your application. Two, we have the worker, and then we have the broker, which is Redis or RabbitMQ. So this is how it works. Remember my ice cream sharing stuff? Now, if I was to use Celery to share ice cream, what I will do is I will recruit workers. That is what Celery has. Celery has workers. I can recruit and say, I need 5 volunteers. When I get 5 volunteers, I line them up in front. Then I'll say, okay, 5 volunteers, help us to share this ice cream. So instead of having a single line, what do? We have 5 lines. Do you agree with me that the sharing will be much more faster? You understand? Just like having breakfast to lunch, imagine you have 5 places. You can stay there, you can go here, you can go here, you can go here. Everything's going to be a little bit faster. So that's what Celery does. So Celery has workers. And then these workers, they pick tasks from the queue. So depending on your resources, your server resources, you could have up to 10 workers. So which means if you have 10 tasks, 10 different workers will pick them, and then they are doing it separately without waiting for each other. So it makes your process faster and it makes your app to run smoothly. So basically, Celery does, it takes the producer, your app, you send a task to the queue. The workers, they pick it one after the other, they do it, and then they send the feedback back. So we are done with this one, and then they pick another one. So it's pretty automated and it helps you to scale faster. So apart from sending tasks directly to Celery, there's another thing you can actually do with Celery, which is called scheduling, task scheduling, with the help of Celery Beat. Yes, task scheduling. So by default, let's say you have an e-commerce website like Jumia, someone places an order for sneakers. Once that order is done, you send them an email, you send them an invoice, and then of course, maybe I know Jumia has vendors. You know that, right? You send an email to the vendor to let them know that there's an order for their product. So all these things are happening in the background. But what if you want to send a periodic email, like promotion, like Black Fridays? All those emails you receive during Black Friday promotion, they tell you, oh, we are selling iPhone for 10,000 naira. Log into your app to grab this special offer. And I've done that like twice. I did it for 2 years during Black Friday. I didn't see shit to buy. Nothing. They'll tell you iPhone is going for 10K at 12 midnight. I will hang around till 12 midnight. I wanted to buy an iPhone, So those emails they blast and they send out, they're actually automated. They are done in the background using a task queue system like Celery. So with Celery Beat, you can actually schedule tasks that will run at specific times. You want to send an email to all your users by 7 a.m. in the morning. Very nice. Install Celery Beat, set up the email, give it the time, and when it's 7 a.m. every day, like clockwork, it's going to send an email to all of your users. You want to scrape data from your website at 10 p.m. every night. Nice one. Put up your scraping script, set up a Celery Beat, set up the Celery worker, and at 10 p.m. every day, it's going to scrape that website and then get you the data that you need. That is the benefit of Celery Beat with Celery itself. So Celery Beat setup is pretty simple. This is an example, a simple schedule. So this is one of my apps that I built some time ago to automate my Twitter account. If you look at the first schedule there, you see that there's a task called post tweets periodically. So that task is supposed to come up with a tweet. The tweet is written by AI actually. So AI, I've given it a little of topics and some stuffs that I want it to write about. So it's going to come up with that tweet and then it's going to pass it on to Celery. And in the background, it's just going to tweet for me. That was what he was doing. So I was just using AI to tweet on one of my accounts like that. So there's another tax there called membership, which checks membership status in the app, subscriptions, expiry dates, and stuffs like that. So these are all automated. So if I know you see this a lot, but most times you are wondering how does this happen? Like you do something automatically, this thing happens. These are because we have background tasks that are running inside the application. So what are some of the benefits of using Celery? So scalability is one. That's like the biggest thing. Celery allows you to scale your app effortlessly. In fact, when it gets to a point, if you need more um, faster processing, you can actually assign more workers. You just increase the number of workers. And then if you add 10 workers, you can go to 20 depending on your server resources. And so if you have 500 tasks and you have 20 workers, in about less than 1 minute, they will do everything. They'll just pick it up 20 at a go, batches of 20 randomly. Everything is getting done. And very quickly, all of these are done instead of trying to do it one after the other in a blocking operation. So, reliability. So, Celery has built in features because when one time when I was using Celery, one of the problem I had was I had a very long, it was scraping task. So, it was a very long time running stuff. So it's sometimes it takes about 30 to 45 minutes for it to be done, trying to pull data from different places. So sometimes it fails, depending on maybe network, downtime, and stuff like that. But with Celery, there are retries. You can set up retries. If this task fails after 30 seconds, try again. And then when it fails, it stops, it rests for like 30 seconds, and then it picks up again and it tries to do that particular thing. So these are some of the inbuilt features of Celery. And then Celery can also do various tasks. Like I said, I've used it for so many things: data scraping, sending of emails, checking of subscriptions, you name it, processing PDFs, um, cropping images, any kind of thing, trimming videos and stuff like that. A lot of applications that we use every day, they actually use background workers like this. You upload a video, you want to, reduce the size, you want to cut some parts, and then it tells you video is processing. While the video is processing, you are able to do some other things. The processing is actually being done by a background worker like Celery. And then when it's done, it just sends a notification, and then the front end picks it up and then shows you that, oh, your video is ready. But the video is not actually being done by the main app. It is actually delegated to something like Celery in the background. So, a real world use case. So, there was a time I was trying to build an app. I was working on a project with some people, and then it's actually a job board. And when it comes to job postings, you know that there are a lot of websites where you can actually get jobs. You have Indeed, there's LinkedIn, there's a bunch of places. So the idea behind this was that we wanted to put all these jobs in a single place. So that if somebody is looking for a job, you don't have to go to Indeed today. Then when you check Indeed, you go back to LinkedIn, you check, you go back to my job man, you go to Jobber man, you do all those things. So we were trying to scrape from all of these sources, putting it in a central place. So how do we do this? Every hour, we have a Celery task. Every hour of the day. It goes to all of these job boards, looks at the latest jobs that were posted within that time frame, grabs all the information, and then pulls it into our own database. Like clockwork. You don't have to do anything. Every hour you come to the database, you always find new jobs. As long as a new job has been posted on any of the job boards that we're scraping, we were able to fetch that. And that was done by Celery. Clockwork, hands off. We don't do anything about that. We just left it there. And it runs on its own. Then the next thing we needed to do was sending job notifications to people because it's a WhatsApp board. But yeah, so the front end is WhatsApp. So we're sending it to people's WhatsApp automatically. So how do you send messages to 1,000 people on WhatsApp at the same time? So I think the job notification was running every 3 hours, thereabout. So if there's a new job for you within the last 3 hours, We package it and then we send you a WhatsApp message with a link to the job and the details of the job. So how do you do that at scale? So basically what we did was we set up a Celery task that checks available jobs for each person every 3 hours. It packages it into a WhatsApp message and then sends it to you on WhatsApp like clockwork. It doesn't fail. 3 hours if there's a new job for you because it's actually personalized. When you sign up, you get your personal details, your job roles, titles. Maybe you are a front-end developer and stuff. So we only send you front-end developer jobs. And then Celery does that in the background like clockwork. It doesn't need any manual supervision. Then also memberships. Memberships. If you want to go into building applications with payments, you would want to check subscription status. How do you know if this user subscription is supposed to end? You have to have a background task that is running inside your applications that checks, oh, this person paid us on October 2nd. His subscription is supposed to end on November 2nd because he paid for 30 days. So if his subscription is ending on November 2nd, there should be a code or a function somewhere that will terminate his access to the application. If you have 10,000, if you have two users, maybe your two friends, you can always check manually now and say, oh, my guy paid me on second, let me disable his account. But when you have 20,000 users, how do you check and disable everybody's account? So you have to have a background task that is running in your application that goes into the database, checks subscriptions, checks the expiry date, checks all those things, and then it performs all these actions on your behalf. So if you are building with Django or Flask, this Celery is actually that tool that you need to be able to do something like this. Then later on, we started having a bloated database. You know, we were scraping a lot of jobs, but then some jobs are like from 3 months ago, 4 months ago, they have expired. Nobody needs to apply to those jobs anymore. So we needed to clean up the database. Imagine you have like 1 million jobs in your database, and out of the 1 million, maybe about 50,000 or so is the recent jobs. So what did we do? We set up another task with Celery. This checks for jobs that is above 60 days. If any job was posted or scraped more than 60 days ago, it goes into the database, picks them, deletes them, such that we're able to reduce the size of data that we have in our database. These are just some of the use cases of what you can do with Celery. I believe when you start building stuff, you start seeing, get ideas of how you can actually use Celery in your own application and to improve how things are done. So basically, Celery is just a task queue. You can use it to do any task that you feel like it should be done in the background. Something that you don't want to do manually or something that you don't even want to interact with. You just delegate it to Celery, set up a schedule, and Celery is going to handle that for you. So this is an example. Yeah, this is actually our bit schedule. So if you look at the first one at the top, you see scraping. Can you see that? Scraping. So the scraping, there's a task called scraper.task.run So this particular task runs the crawler that goes out there to fetch jobs. And then we run it every hour at hour 9 a.m., 12, no, 13, that's 1 p.m., then 17, 5 p.m., 22, 10 at night. So there's an hour there that shows the hours that we want it to be running. Then there's a membership tax that runs every day at 8 o'clock. It checks your status. Are you subscribed or not? Do we need to remove your access to the app? Then there's a tax called send jobs. You can see send jobs there. So send jobs sends the jobs to the users. So it runs at 10 o'clock. Okay, let me see. Does that doesn't have any effect? So basically, what we have there is a tax called send jobs. So the tax is the one that sends jobs to users. If you look at the hour field, can you see that place where we have hour? You see 10, 14, 18, 23. So those are hours of the day. 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, the end of close of the day. That is so. This is like clockwork. In the background, without doing anything, Celery picks this, goes out there, checks the database, grabs people's phone number, craft a message for them with the job details and then sends it to their WhatsApp like clockwork. Then the last one is the delete invalid jobs, which is the one that cleans up the database. And then we run that every 2 o'clock, day of the week, 1 to 5. 1 to 5 means Monday to Friday. So you can actually configure this. You can configure a task that runs every Sunday. You can configure a task that runs every Saturday at a particular time. In fact, up to the minute, you can configure the minute when this app should actually run. So these are like 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 5 tasks that we were running inside the application. So if you were using that app, you wouldn't feel anything. Everything goes like clockwork. Once you sign up, every of the process is automated, and Celery does the heavy lifting for us. So yeah, that's it. I would like to take any questions if you have any.